guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I thought let's come along and have a bit of a play. I've got this book which I was kind of planning an altered book years ago. I mean, I literally kind of glued the pages together and things like years and years ago, like probably 4 years ago. And it's just been sat on my shelf ever since. So I kind of felt like this book, don't know why, but was kind of like lending itself to autumn. So I thought let's come along and have a bit of a play. And we'll do something autumny. I don't want to do kind of like, strictly speaking, like a, you know, just autumn book like we normally would. So I think what I'm going to do like a bit of a hybrid kind of like altered book / glue book. I talked about my glue books like ages ago, and yeah, I've only done 2, which I never even finished the second one. So I must try and dig that out and find out where it is and finish it off. But yeah, we're going to kind of do something similar to that type of thing. So I've got some paint here. Now, I always really like to do paints on my altered books. I think it's a great way to cover up the text and, you know, just kind of like make a bit of a, you know, different kind of look. So I've just literally blobbed some paint down on there. I just smoosh it round. Now, this paint, it's very cheap and cheerful. And as you can see, once you kind of start, you know, smooshing it in, it literally is kind of like completely, what's the opposite to opaque? Well, like a translucent, I suppose. So yeah, not kind of the best paint to be actually covering something. So I'm going to start with that just to get some kind of like greeny colour on there, and then I'm going to just mix it with something that hopefully will be providing a bit more coverage. So we just then smoosh that in, but just so as we've got little touches of the green. I might have to put some more green down because actually this has now covered it completely. So yeah, not very well planned there at all. But I just quite like painting the pages of books to, you know, a good way to just cover up all of the text in one, you know, quick motion kind of thing. So like that, and then I will put some more green down just to get the green going. So there we go. Oops. Obviously I've ended up putting a lot of paint on here, so there we go. Just smoosh that down. And then I'll probably do sort of this in just some random pages throughout the whole book, so that you've got like an interesting book to look at. It will have a couple of like little tucky type spots. I'm not really planning on having, you know, pockets as such, more like tuck spots. So we'll kind of see how we get on. I've got my autumn collection papers, which are new in my shop. So yeah, I'm going to hopefully incorporate lots of those, kind of gluing them down and, you know, collaging around the page with those. But I thought let's kind of just get a, you know, a covering down with the paint. So I'm just going to dry this off. I'm back. Now I have to say it's not quite dry, but it will probably do. So, you know, I'm sure it's dry enough to be able to get on with this bit. So I want to do like a sort of crazy page here, because these are going to be like our interest pages. So yeah, I just want to do some like crazy stuff on this. So what I might do is start by just layering down a little bit of paper. So I'll just grab some paper here. So, you know, we could easily kind of like maybe take this down here. Let's just take it down roughly along that line. And then, yeah, could maybe have that kind of just glued on really as a base. Or we could obviously make it smaller. We could just cut out sort of certain elements. So let's just do that. I'm just going to cut out like here. And then we'll just cut that around like that. Okay. That. I'm not even going to hang on to that. No point in hoarding that tiny bit. So, you know, straight away we've got like a whole chunk there that we've covered on that page, and then we can obviously glue things down on top of this. And then on the facing page we could do kind of similar, and we could just glue down like, you know, a couple of portions of this, just deciding which way to go, maybe like there. So yeah, let's just do it here. Oops. Cut that down. I'm just going to cut that edge off because I've just got some brown left on there where I've cut down the, you know, that. I just had a little bit on the side, so get rid of that. or we might prefer it that way round. Let's do it that way. Okay, so I'm just going to glue those down so that I've got like a starting point. Sometimes I kind of spend like ages deliberating what to put down, and you know, actually I you know, find that, to be honest, it's better to just glue things down. So, you know, obviously I can't help it sometimes to deliberate over and over, but if I can, I just try and then get things glued down. It's about not sticking things on, and then, you know, sometimes then that prevents me being able to start at all, because then I'm just so busy thinking, oh, you know, shall I put that there, shall I not, you know, and just swapping and changing my mind. But to be honest, it's better to just go for it sometimes, and then, you know, even though occasionally you might think, oh, I wish I hadn't put that there, I think it's still better to have made a kind of dent and then work with that than, you know, deliberate for hours thinking, what shall I put where? And then you never actually kind of like get on. So, and to be honest, what's to say that things are going to look any better just because you've spent a longer time deliberating? You know, sometimes I think they look just as good not deliberating for ages. So, okay. So yeah, let's go for it. Okay. And yeah, I'm going to put this one down quite low on the page like that. Oops. Okay, right. I will get my glue spreader as well, because then it's, you know, much more likely to be wrinkle free. Obviously it might pick up some of the wrinkles from underneath, you know, where it's been like glued and painted, so, well, glued mainly, so yeah, it might just be that there are some wrinkles on there, but, you know, hopefully not too bad. There we go. Right, so we've made a good start, and then what I want to do is just like literally build up from here. Sorry, I just saw a wrinkle there. Get that out. And if I end up tearing the paper, like I have done here, it doesn't matter because I can just cover it up with stuff. So, you know, I'm not kind of too worried. So I've got quite a few of my autumn things here. So I'm just going to take one or two of those. Got the squirrel. Maybe take one of these. And then I've got a bunch of these like rectangular bits as well. So can't decide now which one. Perhaps I'll take this down. Actually, I'm just going to cut this like that. Right, let's give this a go. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually mix this in with some other stuff as well, because I don't want it to look really strictly autumn, if you see what I mean. I do want it to have an autumn look, but I want it to look, you know, suitable for other times of year as well. So we're starting with a predominantly autumn feel, and then we're going to kind of like incorporate some other things as well. So just take a few of these. So I want to mix it with some other stuff, which I haven't quite decided yet what other stuff I'm going to be mixing it with. So this will be interesting to see what we come up with, to be honest. Oh, I feel kind of nervous because this is like a whole different sort of thing that we're doing. So I hope that, you know, I've managed to pull something together that looks fairly, you know, halfway okay. Otherwise it will have to be a video that never goes up, never sees the light of day. Okay, right, there we go. That's my squirrel, and then I'm just going to cut this one out as well. And then I'm going to look through. I've got a whole bunch of like fussy cut things here. I'm going to just see what else I've got that I could sort of potentially mix this up with, you know, so that I can get some different sort of looks going on. So let's just take that down. Right. Didn't make a very good job of cutting that one. There we go. Bit better. Bit better. Right. Now, bearing in mind, these are on thicker card or paper. They're on kind of like 230 GSM. The paper I've stuck down in the background, that's on, I think it's 120. So, you know, they're completely different thicknesses. And that's kind of how I'm, you know, deliberately wanting it, because I want these to, like, stand out, you know, from the background page. So, you know, I can then, like, layer them up. And they're gonna, you know, they're gonna stand out. So something like maybe like that and like that. And then at this point, maybe I want to start adding some other stuff. So I've got here, which just dropped on the floor, I've got one of my street names. So we could definitely incorporate that. Right, let's just pull out from my little packet here. So here's a bunch that I've just kind of like randomly pulled in. I'm not going to do, or I'm going to try not to have lace and things like that on this particular journal. So I'll see how I get on with that. You know, famous last words. I had a butterfly stuck on me there for a minute. Right, I'm just going to hold this down like this, because otherwise it's kind of like flicking up. So just, yeah, squish it down like that. Right, so they're going to be like that, like that, like that. And then let's just see what else we've got where we can kind of add like some extra different stuff. So keep that like that. So straight away, like in my pile of bits and bobs, I mean, I've got like some other flowers here. Not sure about that. Oh, this is just from my fashion plate. So I've got some of these like little bits of text, which to be honest, you know, although they're quite small, they might be quite nice on here. So let's just see. Oh, look, done that completely skew if I hadn't really noticed, but yeah, kind of like slanty. Oh, well. Right, well, I'll much that up a little bit, but it's all right. So we could have that. I've got some other like pink flowers, which weirdly, I actually don't mind those. Yeah, strange, because I actually thought this one would look better, but I didn't overly like this, because I think this brought out like a yellowy kind of thing, whereas this is making the page seem really quite warm and lovely, doesn't it? So I've got these are from my Junk Journal Basics set 2. Let me just cut these down. You know, we just want to have fun with this. We don't want it to be kind of like, oh, you know, that doesn't really go. So long as it kind of looks like striking and eye-catching, that's going to be good enough, I think, for me. So, you know, it doesn't have to be like ordinarily what would go together. I want it to look daring, you know, yeah, daring. So, yeah, let's just get a couple of these bits and, you know, we can then kind of backtrack if we need to. Don't know whether I want anything like that. I know this sounds weird. I feel like I might want more shaped things. So if I used this, what I could do is cut it out so as I've actually got the building shaped in the background. I actually kind of quite like the idea of that. Got some of my fashion plates, which, I mean, again, they look quite good there, don't they? I mean, this is really weird because by rights, they shouldn't really kind of go on that page, but they sort of do. You know, by rights, this is the piece that I would have expected to go, but actually I'm not liking that at all. In fact, I put that to one side because I'm definitely not using that. Yeah, not using that. That's not great. Got another sort of pinky flower. So the pinky flowers are definitely a win here. So, you know, quite liking those. I've got some label here, which, again, it might be that actually it's too yellowy and it's kind of then bringing out the yellow more in the page. So, you know, I don't necessarily want that. Got this. Right, so I put down the possibles. I'm just going to put down here. I've got a lilac butterfly. I think that's a step too far. Got some peacock bits. I mean, again, they're kind of quite nice on there. Maybe not that one. Got this, which weirdly, again, I would have expected this to go, but strangely, I'm feeling a no for that. I've got some blue, are these hyacinths? Yeah, strangely, they're a no for me as well. That's a yes. Ooh, maybe. I mean, again, we could incorporate those ladies, which, you know, by rights, like I say, they shouldn't really go at all, but there's something about them that was going. Oddly, I quite like that. Not loving those ones. They seemed strange because they had like purple on them. Now I've got these little stamped postage stamps as well. So I'll just cut some of these out. Or one anyway. Probably don't want more than one, but yeah, I think we could maybe have one of those somewhere. I've got some of my French labels, which I just love. So yeah, they're definitely quite good on there. This, which again, I expected to go, but not really. This, that potentially could go if we're, especially if we're incorporating those ladies. Little label. Again, if we incorporate the peacock, that could work. No, not liking that much. Oh, that's not bad. That's a no. I think anything with purple is a no. So yeah, can kind of like just discard the purple stuff straight away because it's like, oh no, that doesn't go. Get rid of this because again, it's a yellowy colour. No, that's not bad. Right, okay. So I've got quite a few bits here to kind of like get started with. I think no, probably to these kind of blue tones. Yeah, they're not quite right, which is weird, isn't it? Because the peacock I quite like. Whether or not that's just the turquoise kind of like colouring in the peacock is making it go, I don't know, but yeah, don't know why that would be. Right, okay, so let's pull this all off again. So, because now it's looking really cluttered, isn't it? Right, get rid of these. So, I could have that little postage stamp up there, quite like that. Let me just hold the page down so as it doesn't keep moving up. We were thinking that there, like that, weren't we? Personally, I quite like this pink flower. Yeah, really, really like that. Could have another pink flower this side. We could have like a black. Now, that kind of ties that postage stamp in, I feel. You know, they've both got the blacks there. I'm just going to move the camera slightly because I'm not sure how great that view is. Hopefully that's a bit better. Oh dear. Yeah, hopefully that's better. Now, do we want these ladies on here at all? I mean, they do weirdly look quite nice, don't they? So we could have those on there. And then I probably want to have something sort of bringing that colour in on the other side. So we've got this label, which we could even have just coming out there. Something like that. Maybe there. Let's check this out. I mean, it's just so strange, isn't it? Because, like I say, I'm kind of like perplexed, really, as to why some of these things are looking good. I mean, those ladies, and I'm maybe we'll put this video up and you'll all be saying, no, what on earth were you talking about? They look awful on there. But yeah, I quite like them. It's just strange. Or we could have like the peacock, and then, you know, we could have like a peacock over here. I could even cover that bird up. It's not, you know, it's not really the end of the world if I cover the bird up. Or we could cover the squirrel up, or not have the squirrel. Have that instead. No, I don't feel that's quite the right colour. Just see. Right, so that rose is kind of more like that colour. Which do we think is better? Can't decide now. And then I have got a couple of words, so we could always have like a pink word there. Got this tealy bluey green from the French labels, so we could have that somewhere, which again is just bringing that bluey green onto this page, which, yeah, I quite like that. I do like the layering, maybe down there actually. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ink up a couple of things. So I'm going to ink up this around the edge. that. Going to ink up the squirrel. It's mainly when I've made, you know, potentially a sort of rubbish job of cutting, so I'm just kind of like disguising the cutting, really. So yeah, but it also does kind of make things stand out a little bit more if you ink around the edges, I find. So, you know, it is kind of like quite a good thing to do, because it makes things pop a little bit more than perhaps they would otherwise. So just ink that. Okay. Yeah, what do we think? I mean, I don't know. See, I'm looking in the camera and I'm like, oh, I do quite like it. I feel this is quite a bold thing. Unless I went for... Let me just ink this one up and see whether this one looks better. Down there actually is quite nice, isn't it? Maybe that one sort of more like that. And actually I'm just wondering whether we could have this then. Oh, I don't know. This is quite hard actually. I might start sticking some stuff down, so I'm going to quickly pop the postage stamp down. Now, this is obviously just on flimsy kind of like paper, so hence I'm using my, you know, PVA type glue. But the other things, I will probably actually hot glue them down because they're in, you know, much thicker papers. So, yeah, might kind of... You see, now I feel like, oh, not quite sure. Let's have that right to the side. Just see if we like... I do love like labeling a frame and things, cut it in half, as you know. So, yeah, I wonder if we could have that anywhere. Well, let's stick some of these bits down because I do really like these. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this one down as a pocket. Because I did say, didn't I, that we're going to just have some sort of like, you know, really super simple kind of tuck spots and things in here. Just so as you've got like some bits to put things. Whereas like when I've done the two glue books that I did, I don't think I had any bits that were pockety type areas on the page as well, at all. I think they were literally, you know, glued down. So that's going to be kind of the main difference, is we're going to have a few things that are sort of technically like, you know, pockets and tucks and things. So that's that one. Then on top of there, we're going to have this. So I did say I was going to use the hot glue, didn't I? But I probably will use the hot glue in a minute. But yeah, let's just start with this. So I'm going to pop that one down there. Okay. Like that. Okay. Yeah, liking that. And then the ladies we're going to have here. And again, I think what I'm going to do is just put them on like a tuck spot. Now, do I want them up there or maybe just like on two sides? So just pop them down like that. And then you've got like a tuck spot and a pocket on that page. Okay. Like that. Okay, and then we're going to have the flower. Now, do we want that flower? No, definitely not that one. Now, on the facing page, I need to really decide on this. So, Maybe have that one coming out underneath. That's quite nice. I'm feeling I need something kind of this sort of shade really, which, you know, is this really, isn't it? So let's just ink this up a bit. Unless we have it more like this. That's quite nice, isn't it? And then that there, was I going to have something over that? What did I do with that street name? Oh, I don't know now, I can't see it anywhere. Could have like a rose, I suppose. Really hard to decide, isn't it, with all these bits. I just really wanted to push my boundaries really and do kind of like really unexpected choices. Yeah, unexpected stuff. Right, so this one I'm going to put down again like a sort of side pocket there. Oops. And I've glued it down on this side as well rather than like a belly band, just because I'm not sure how I'm going to put the squirrel on. So I didn't want to kind of like glue it as a belly band and then just glue it down anyway with the squirrel. Although, to be honest, I probably will have the squirrel as a tuck spot, to be honest. Right, I'm just going to check that I wouldn't prefer it more like this. So I have the squirrel here. I mean, that's kind of quite cute, to be honest, isn't it? I'm now thinking, is the squirrel too big? Because everything's like sort of similar sizes. So I have also got some of those autumn pieces on smaller paper. Not smaller paper, you know, printed in smaller size. Smaller paper? What am I talking about? Yeah, I've got them on smaller size. So let me just bring in one of those. See, now this is going to be too small. My printer's really irritating because I can't just print 2 to a page how I used to. And now it really like adds huge, great big margins on there, which just really frustrating, because then obviously the pieces are way smaller than they would be if I was actually just printing 2 to a page in the normal way that I used to. Don't know quite what's going on, but yeah, it's not a very good printer, to be honest. It's pretty rubbish. Right. Let's just again, just ink this up a bit. Oh, see, now I feel like that's too small. Oh, although could have it there, which is quite cute, isn't it? And then probably have the pink flowers. Right, let's just check. Or we have that down there and then the pink flowers here. Yeah, I definitely like the squirrel on here. I think that's really cute on there. So yeah, loving that. I think the portion of that squirrel is kind of better because it's like not so many big things on the page, whereas like this was, although I loved it, it was a lot of big things, if you see what I mean. So I think that's better. Do we want it like that? Or do we want the stuff down here? Let's stick this down. So I'm going to put the squirrel on and I'm going to put it flat onto that, you know, the frame. Like that. But then what I will do is I'm going to put, the frame down as a little tuck spot. So we're going to just put the frame down on 2 sides like that. Okay. fine. Oh, now look, I've got glue on my flower. Yeah, I like it like that. And right, just need to decide now, do we want that flower up there or do we want it down here? I think I prefer it down here. So yeah, we could probably even have the flower as well as a tuck spot. So yeah, let's just pop that down there. And then, you know, I say this all the time, like with conventional junk journals in the pockets, at least then you've got the option of using it. If you just put it down flat, you know, you don't even have that as an option, do you? So you're just giving yourself choices, really, by putting them down as little tuck spots and pockets and things. So there we go, like that. And then the little French label, I'll have it down that side. Yeah, love how that looks. So I didn't end up gluing anything down with the hot glue. I said, didn't I? Oh, I'm going to be putting everything down with the hot glue. Not actually stuck anything down with it. That's fine, you know, it doesn't matter, but yeah, don't know quite why the change of mind there, but yeah, just sort of just happened that way that I changed my mind. So okay, like that. And then on this side, just going to put this down here, and then I think that's probably done for those 2 pages. So yeah, quite liking those. You know, they look very different, don't they? Very unexpected. So yeah, gonna just put this one down like that. And to be honest, you could always journal on, you know, the painted areas around here, you know, because they're kind of like covered up enough for you to be able to do that if you wanted. But we have, don't forget, got like pockets in the sides and things that you're going to have like some, you know, journal cards and things like that. So, you know, you're not kind of like not having much journal space. I'm just going to glue it down there as well. Okay. Well, I must say, I'm loving that little double page spread. What a gorgeous page layout. Yeah, really, really like that. So let me know what you think. Do comment below what you're thinking to this. Do you think, oh my goodness, what an eyesore? You know, none of those things go together. Or are you quite liking the choices that we made? Yeah, let me know what you think. So that's that one. And then obviously my bits are just resisting the glue a bit because they're just going over multiple layers. But anyway, they will glue down, that's fine. So then what I would do is like flick through a few pages and I will just do another page so that whilst I'm like in the same vibe, you know, like on the same day, I'm going to do something sort of that will kind of align with that. Whereas if I sort of do it another day, you know, I might end up with something completely different looking, which is fine, but I don't want it to look, you know, completely weird. So I'm just going to, again, start by just smearing my paint or smooshing my paint around. Exactly the same colours, just going to use on this page. And, you know, that's what I'm saying. If I come back like tomorrow, I might even forget what colours that I've used. So this way I'm really kind of like keeping it the same. So then I don't mind if the other pages are all different, but at least I've got 2 pages that sort of pick up, you know, the same sort of feel as the next one, or the previous one. So like that. And then I'm just going to go in with a bit more of the green, just like we did on the last one, so that I've got like a little bit of a green sort of thing going on there. Oops. Got some dried paint dropped on there. Okay, and then just, yeah, smoosh that down, or smoosh that together. Spread that out. Like that. Oops, didn't pick up much green on there, did I? Just put a bit more down there. Okay. Just put some there in that sort of crease line. Okay, right. I'm just going to now dry this off with the heat tool, just like we did on the last one. Okay, so I've dried that off, and I'm just going to now quickly cut out a couple of bits from this page. So just going to, I think, cut, yeah, I might just cut around here. And then I might include this. Okay. Oh, I've made a really shocking job of cutting this. You can see already that this is very, very wonky. Great. Okay. I'm wondering whether I'd be better off getting rid of this white strip. I don't know. I kind of left it there intentionally, and now it's like, do I like it? Well, we'll come back to that and decide. This one, I might just take this section here. I mean, like I say, this is just really to get like a little bit of like background going on, and then, you know, chances are most of it will be covered up anyway, but at least it's got then some sort of interesting stuff going on. Right. You see, now I'm wanting to hoard this, and I had been doing so well with that first sheet of paper. I was like really disciplined and just binned it straight away. Now I'm like, oh, should I keep that? Why do I want to keep it? Is the question. Right. Okay, so this is too wide for the page. So what I might do is just cut this down now here. Like that. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay. And then, right, so this one I'm thinking maybe I'll even put it like that. And then this one maybe here. And then I could even have the mushrooms, to be honest. Mushrooms? Toadstools. Toadstools, not to be confused with mushrooms. Well, they might be mushrooms for all I know, to be honest. I'm not a toadstool connoisseur or, you know, expert. So yeah, who knows what these are, but so I might put these down like that, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to glue the toadstools down first. Okay. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we're just going to have here a really interesting, like, eclectic book to look through. You know, I don't want it to look like typical and boring or predictable. I want it to look really like, wow, look at those unexpected things on that page, you know. And I think so far it's having that effect. Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, I've put that one down, and yeah, we're just going to put this down. That was my mum and dad, and for some reason, I know I've said this recently, when they call me, it literally switches my camera off. It didn't used to do that, so I don't know whether they've done like an update and it changed it. I mean, they do these updates, don't they? And then everything's kind of different after that. So yeah, who knows? Maybe it's an update, but I wish that they wouldn't change things, to be honest. You know, because you get used to how things work, and then suddenly they start doing something differently. Right. Are you okay, sweetie? That's my daughter. She's obviously just dropped something, but yeah, sounded well, not like a big crash, but I don't know what it. Anyway, I can still hear her moving around, even though she didn't answer me. I can still hear her moving, so she must be fine. Okay. Pop that on there. Like that. Okay, and then this one. Right, can't remember whether I was actually talking about stuff when the phone rang off or not, to be honest, but it might come back to me. Well, if I was talking about something, maybe I wasn't. Right. Smooth that glue out. Mop up any excess glue that's kind of like seeping out. Like that. Okay. Right. Now I'm going to just pull in those autumny bits again. Because I want to do the autumn bits as like my starting point. And then build up from there. So yeah, quite like kind of having the autumn bits. Because, you know, this was sort of like loosely inspired by autumn in the first place. Even though I then am mixing it with other stuff, you know, I wanted my starting point to be the autumn stuff. So, oops, now I'm trying to find where the other piece has gone. Right, for this one, maybe, I like having the red, to be honest, because I think that's quite striking on there. So, yeah, I was going to go for one of the others, but I think we'll go for the red. Oh, sorry, if you can now hear Bo, she's now come into the room and she's still having a shake. Hello, gorgeous. Right, maybe we can have this squirrel on here because, yeah, I did want to have it in the last one, but we just didn't get to put it on the last one, so perhaps we'll have it on this one instead. Right, let me just pin that down. I'm still looking now for my, oh, here we go. So we've got these ones as well. So which one? Maybe this one with the birds, actually. Or the bird, not birds. Where are you going, sweetie? She's left the room already. She's like, oh, it's way too messy in there for me. Okay. Right. That one. And yeah, this here. Right, now, what are we going to mix this one with? So again, you know, want to sort of still get that sort of eclectic look on here. So I've still got the pieces here, obviously, from the last one. So I'm just going to use those as my starting point. Weirdly, this doesn't look great on here, where it did look quite nice on the others. It's not looking great on here. I wonder whether that's what I'm going to find is actually totally different things are going to look good with this page. Isn't that weird? Strangely, this one, which I'd, you know, disregarded kind of thing on the last page, I actually really like on here. So, yeah, maybe this is going to have different things that it's going to work with. No, I'm still not loving that. Yeah, still not loving that. But I'm thinking, because this has got the big bright blue bird, maybe I can do some more blue stuff. What do we think? Like that. I don't know now. I am really liking this on here. Now just, yeah, need to kind of like get something going on here, which... we have like, oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? So again, that's just like layering up the frames. Let's just bring in another one of these. So let's try this one. Wonder whether we should have like a fashion plate on here as well. You know, like we did on the last one. Whether that would be a good addition or not. Let's put this down here. So, you know, I said, didn't I, that, you know, we might cover these bits up. So, yeah, just like experimenting with sort of different things here. So, we had that there, and then let's just I quite like it. You know, once we do add the sort of like unexpected flowers, they look good on there, don't they? Obviously, I have now covered that bird up, you know, partially. So, yeah, maybe I would have to have this over here or up there. It's quite nice, isn't it? And then do have this bright blue butterfly. Oh, that's very bright. Very bright, but I don't dislike it actually. Maybe on that one. Let me just try it this way round. It's just about getting the positioning right, isn't it, really, of the things? So, you know, the objects that we're using. I'm not loving this, to be honest, this one. I really liked the other one, and it sort of just, as soon as things were put there, I was like, oh yeah, that looks great. This one, not so much. So maybe I'm not getting the right things yet. Let's try again. Let's just remove these things and we'll just try again, shall we? Well, she's quite nice on there, actually. Which, again, do you remember, like, on that other one, we said no, definitely no purple. She actually looks quite good on there. Oh, I can't decide. This is really frustrating. Don't you hate it when you can't get things to kind of like work together? It's really annoying. Like, really annoying. Just having a look through some other little fussy cut bits that I've got sat here. So just see whether any of these will be any good or not. I mean, I've got the hyacinths here. Weirdly, I'm still not liking those very much. Yeah, they're just still not really kind of working for me. Got like a grey frame, which I quite like, but it's a little bit drab perhaps. Or, you know, if we were going with the blue things, I could have some blue stuff going on in here. Remove these. Got the blue flower, the blue bird. Oh, why is none of this working? It all just came together so well on the other one. Yeah, this is not working the same as the last one. Well, that's quite nice actually. I feel like it's a shame to cover that up, which, yeah, I know that's ridiculous, but because I can just print more, but I hate covering things up like that. You know, it's like, oh, that's such a shame. Really like it, you know. Let me cover up this one maybe instead, because this just says the word chocolate, so I feel like it's more worthy of being covered up. I mean, like I said, I don't know why that matters, because I can just print some more, but it's so dark and drab outside. It's not a nice day. Right. That's better. That's better, because then I can still have this. You know, if we wanted, we could still have this somewhere. Yeah, I mean, possibly not anywhere actually on this page, because if we're going for the blue stuff, probably not, but at least I've got it somewhere else. Right, I've got a brown label, but is that a bit drab? There. Got this blue label, just kind of like thinking, you know, if we're going with the blue stuff. I've got the pink and blue butterfly. Ooh. Got this blue flower. So, I mean, this page started very similar, didn't it? You know, the background pages that we used were similar, and the obviously painted background, you know, was similar. But it's now taken on a completely different turn. So, yeah. Which, you know, that's quite interesting, isn't it? Why, you know, why these ones would work on this page and the other ones didn't. Weird. Super weird. Right. I've got this blue frame. Yeah, I quite like that blue frame there. That's really nice. Now, just thinking, move that over a bit, I think. Although, yeah, I mean, that now looks like it's all in a line. That otherwise looks like it's right in the middle, which was weird. So, yeah, I think it has to go over there. Right, just ink this up a bit. Okay, so I like that very much on there. So we just glue this one down. Isn't it horrible when you have to cover things up, you know, even though you can just print more? It's like, oh, I don't want to cover it. I mean, thank goodness, oops, thank goodness they're printables, because I really wouldn't be wanting to cover them otherwise, would I? Well, I just wouldn't be doing it, let's be honest. I would not be covering them up. I just wouldn't be using them. I'd be like hunting around for some other stuff. Okay. Oops. Oh my goodness. Come on. Yeah. Right, that one. Okay, do we need to ink this at all? Maybe just a little tiny bit. So this one we're going to have here. Now, again, let me just think whether this is going to be a tuck spot or anything. It's probably got to be flat because it might affect how this one operates. So, yeah, I think I'll have to put it flat. So, just glue the whole thing down. Sorry, my glue's now messing about. It's either not coming out or else it's coming out really fast. So, okay. Just put this down here. Like that. Oops. Okay, it's skidding about everywhere. Oh my goodness, come on. Like that. Like that. This one we're going to have like that. That. Yep, liking that. And then we just want to do like some extra blue things, I think. So that one's stuck down. This here needs something in here. Preferably something blue would be good. Unless a different colour is going to look really good, which, you know, maybe I've not considered. I mean, weirdly, that looks okay. We could have it like that. Is that a bit strange? And we could have the butterfly maybe. Yeah, I don't mind that. Oops. Could have a rose on here. Maybe like that. It's all quite clustery in that middle section, but I quite like the look of that. So let's try this. Again, just ink it up so it's, you know, better match. So that one there. Just going to, again, just ink around this, you know, and it's just going to make it stand out more, if nothing else. Okay. That one, that one, that one. Oops. Right, now I have to decide, do I want to just cover that bird up, really? yeah, might be better to kind of like just even have it more, you know, covered up completely. That one down there. What do we think? I feel like there's a lot of straight edges, a lot of square type shapes going on. So yeah, I might have to put some other bits on that are going to be less square shapes and more kind of like roundy. I mean, weirdly, that one's quite lovely on there, isn't it? Which one do you think is nicer? Yeah, quite like that. Then we could have this one maybe up here. Like that. And maybe something up here. Let's have a look and see what I've got. Oh, all I'm seeing is lots of straight edges. Which is, yeah, not the best. Oh, I've got a little Paris label. Not sure. Maybe it is this, and I need to swap this out for something else. So again, I do want something blue because I like the blue on there. But let me see what else I've got. Have I got anything else that's blue? No, that's annoying. Well, everything else that I've got that's blue is just as sort of straight edged as that was, which then, you know, what's the point? There's no point really. I've got this little flower, which is quite nice because that's brown. You know, the flower is brown even though the frame is blue, so colour wise that's a good colour. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, hang on. Oh, right, I'm getting some more blue stuff now. Got a yellow daffodil. Right, okay, let's give this a try. Right, so we're having a bit of a reshift now. Oh, I don't know where to start now that I've chucked all these bits out. Right, let's get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Right, let's have a look. So, what we could do is have blue here. I mean, obviously that is kind of the same as this bird, but is it? Oh no, it's different. It's different. Or we could swap these. That one there. That one there. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, quite liking that. And then there we could have something like that. Yeah, loving that. Right, okay, so this one I want to put as, again, a little side pocket, I think. So, and again, going to do it as a, actually, no, I'm going to do this as a belly band. So, just top and bottom, glue that. Okay, and yeah, glue that there. Like that. Get some more tissue. Okay. Right. Like that. Okay, and then we were going to have this here, weren't we? Yeah, and then the rosebud and the label, and then the butterfly, I think. Maybe the butterfly, kind of like over to that side, I think. So this one I'm going to put, yeah, glue here. So at the bottom, around the side. So it's just a little tuck spot there. Like that. Okay, just smoosh that down. And then the rosebud, again, I mean, we could have that as a little bit of a tuck. So let me just ink that up a bit. Okay. that. Okay. Oops. Like that. Okay, and then here, I might hot glue this down just because this is going over again quite a few layers, and you know, I'm then having to constantly keep on repressing things down, which is just annoying. So yeah, I might hot glue that down. Right, that. Okay, yeah. So yep, we're just going to hot glue this label down. Oops, let me just put a hot glue stick in. That's not a hot glue stick. It will be hot, but it's just a glue stick. Okay. Okay, just put that there. Like that. Okay. I should have, yeah. Right, okay. I'm going to put the butterfly there. Or we could have it straight on. Oh, I can't decide actually. Could have it straight. Could have it there. Could have it there. Or could have it diagonal. I actually quite like it there. Sort of like clustered up with the whole bunch of stuff there, I think. So again, just going to glue this down with the hot glue. So like that. Okay. Loving how that looked. Right, okay, we're going to quickly ink this up a bit. Ink this. Okay, right, let's check this out. So just see how this would look if we've got it like this, like this, like this. And then here, 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 here. Or we could have it lower. Ah, now the only thing is, I don't want it to look like it's in a diagonal line. So yeah, maybe it's better off being higher. Although that then looks like it's all in the centre. Which again is weird, isn't it? Oh, this has been very problematic, this page. So yeah, not come together very easily. Right. Like that, I think. So this one I'm going to just glue down flat, I think. Yep. Oh, it's killing me to do this because this one's been coffee dyed at the back. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I could have used that as a, what do you call it? You know, journal card or something. Why have I glued that down? Oh my goodness, I've gone to the trouble of coffee dyeing it previously. Okay, and then this here, this here, this here, like that, and... now need to decide how we're gluing these bits on. So again, what I'm thinking is possibly tuck spot. Yeah, you work out which way this needs to go. So if I did a tuck spot there, this is a bit tricky. If I did it there like that, no. Right, so I need to tuck spot it here on this side, like that. Okay, like that. Then this one is going to be a tuck spot. So these are my bird toppers, by the way, these ones, and this one's from the, I think it's the Swan Lake kit, as are the blue flowers. So yeah, right, don't want it looking in a sort of diagonal line, so maybe more staggered like that. Yeah. We could have it like that, I suppose. Let's just double check. So either like that or that one up there. Either way, I'm going to do this, actually not either way, because it's going to make a difference how I glue it as to how that has to be stuck down. Yeah, quite like it there, I think. So this one I'm going to put as a belly band. So across here, obviously those, you know, bannery type bits like that. That one's going to go there, like that. Yeah. Okay, so press this down. Like that. And then this one we're going to just put here to the side, but sort of higher. I didn't want it kind of like, unless I go right low down. I mean, that works actually. Yeah, perhaps I'll do it like that. So just going to again just do this as a little tuck spot down there. Like that. Okay. Right, okay. So that. And then the blue flower. Where do we think the blue flower? There? Or do we want it sort of like add a bit of blue on the top? So if we're adding the blue at the top, I feel like it should have a little label there or something. So yeah, maybe kind of like something like that. I guess we could have it on this side. No, that's too much stuff there. So yeah, maybe something like that up there. Or maybe just there actually. Yeah, let's just pop it there. Oops, now I'm just picking up my tissue with the glue. Right, there we go. Wow, well that definitely took a lot longer than the first one, didn't it? So yeah, that was a struggle. I don't know why, but for some reason it just, yeah, didn't come together all that quickly. But yeah, I like how it looks now. Yeah, I like how it looks now. Could even put that pink butterfly up there, I suppose. Although that's maybe a little bit too many butterflies on that page, but yeah, could have it here. Maybe there. Yeah, let's do it there. Okay, so again, just going to glue this down with the hot glue so it's nice and quick. Like that. Oh, what an idiot. I meant to do it right in the corner, but yeah. Anyway, it's fine. So that's my pages. So I've got like a little tuck spot there. I've got a belly band and a tuck spot there. Here I've got a tuck spot and that's a little pocket. And then on this one I've got tuck spot, pocket, tuck spot, and a pocket. So yeah, and I think that's, yeah, tuck spot as well. So we've got a few tuck spots and things going on those, and you know, just some really nice different pages. So when you look through this book, it's going to be like really interesting to look through. So yeah, let me know what you think, whether you enjoyed the process. Let me know if you're going to make something like this. I might try and come back and do another couple of pages with you guys. But if not, I'll kind of continue it in slow time and then obviously come back with the flip through. So yeah, let me know what you think, and really appreciate a big thumbs up for this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. I will see you guys in the next video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, actually, if you could possibly subscribe to my channel, that would be awesome. Thanks so much then. Bye.